Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Wonderful, wonderful.
You're looking good for
Yeah.
the age.
I was going to
For
say,
the-
do you mean for this time of the morning or for my age? For both.
How old are you now? Can I ask, or am I allowed
59
to?
and a half.
59. So you're going to be 60 soon.
April 15th.
Does that tax day, does that...
It sucks.
Does it? I mean, is 60 like a big age
60,
to hit?
well, what the hell?
You don't think so? Age doesn't bother you?
At this point, it doesn't matter.
You've had a pretty full life, those 60 years, though, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
So let's talk about this. First of all, everyone, Dom, my phone screener, said that you were the first person he cranked one out to.
I'm so glad I was there to help.
No, thank you. Appreciate it.
You have this book out, which really talks about a lot about your life and all the things that you've gone through. But let's start at the beginning. Where were you born?
Radford, Virginia.
In Virginia. Is it Radford? Is that like in the sticks, or is that like a suburb?
Well, at the time, yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It's about 10 miles from VPI,
Okay.
Virginia Polytechnical Institute.
So it was a small town.
It's still a small town.
Yeah. But your parents, your whole family abandoned you when you were a girl? Is that accurate?
No,
That's what I read. That's what
you didn't.
I didn't read that in your book. That's what my prep says. But
well, your prep is wrong.
what happened? They didn't.
My mother did,
Uh-huh.
not my whole family.
What happened to your mother? She ran out on the family.
Oh, please, you're gonna have to read the book to find out.
Oh, just give me a nutshell. Give it to me in a nutshell.
I came home from school. She wasn't there.
Were they married? Your mother and father?
Yeah, no, not my dad, stepfather.
So so your stepfather. Did your stepfather then take care of you, or did your real father step in?
My mother and my stepfather and my brother and sister left and went to Florida for vacation.
Mm-hmm. And so
my grandparents and aunts and uncles stepped in and helped out.
So it's not accurate. My prep says that you grew up in an orphanage. That's not accurate?
Later on,
Oh, okay.
I spent some time there, a few years.
Why? Is it you?
Well, I mean, everybody else had kids. They had their own kids to take care of.
So it was almost too
But
much.
it wasn't a bad experience to be there.
How many kids were in the
Couple
orphanage?
100.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Do they still have orphanages like that these days?
I'm pretty sure they do.
So there were a couple hundred kids, and
I think now they just, they call them detention centers.
So this sounds like, how old were you at the time?
Oh, I was about 9 or 10.
Did everyone get along? I mean, were all the kids okay in there?
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
Yeah. So it wasn't you don't remember it as a bad experience?
No, it wasn't a bad experience.
A lot
No.
of people would say, oh my God, she grew up in an orphanage. How horrible. It must have been
Well,
awful.
big deal. I had a lot of kids to play with. I had a lot of friends.
And the people who ran it were nice. They
Yeah.
didn't abuse you or mean
No.
to you or anything like that.
Went to school, went to church.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever get back with your family after you went to the orphanage? Did you go back with your
I
dad?
ended up living with my aunt in another part of Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
And went to school, went through high school and stuff like that with my aunt.
So would you say that you had a fairly normal childhood? I mean, most kids don't end up in an orphanage, but other than that.
Yeah, but to me, I had a pretty happy life.
You were not, it wasn't a horrible upbringing.
No, I mean, I wasn't raped. I wasn't forced to do anything I didn't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
My family's a very loving family, and they still are. I mean, we're still all very close.
Mm-hmm.
Certain things happen. I mean, everybody has probably bad experiences in their life, so mine just happens to be in a book.
Which is called Inside Seka,
Seka.
which you can pick up at bookstores now.
Well, you can get it on Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, and at Seka.com.
Okay, SEKA.com.
Yeah, it's not in bookstores.
Did your father was? I heard he was a loving father, but he was an alcoholic. He had an alcohol problem.
Well, he was for a long time, and then when he got ill, he stopped drinking. But my dad was the best.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely adored my dad. I still say good morning to him every morning.
He passed away.
About 15 years ago or more.
Yeah. And then you got married at a young age.
I got married at 18, a week after I turned 18.
Did your aunt or whoever was in your life at that time, did anyone in your family say, probably not a good idea to get married at the age of 18? But you
and I wouldn't suggest it either.
But you were 18. You thought you knew everything,
I
right?
wanted out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
So I got out of the house.
And so how old was your husband? About
He
the
was
same age?
25.
Okay, so a little bit older than you. So you get married at the age of 18. I
Still in high school.
Oh, no kidding, really?
Yeah.
Now, wouldn't people frown upon this guy who's 25 who's marrying a girl who's still in high school?
I was of legal age.
I know, but still, I mean, that would be like if I just married an 18-year-old who's still a senior in high school. People would go, it's pretty weird, Rover.
Yeah, but we're looking at, it was the 70s. It was like 1971,
Yeah.
72.
Yeah, so a little different time.
A lot different now.
How did you meet this guy, this husband of yours?
I was working in a shoe store, and there was a bar across the street from the shoe store where a lot of guys would go play pool and play cards. And he came in to buy a pair of shoes. He was like 6'6".
And so you hit it
He wore a
off.
size 14 shoe.
Well, you were.
And I
well,
was like, I think I like this guy. Even though I didn't know anything about sex at the time.
You must have been one hot piece of ass back then when you were 18.
Well, do you think?
Pardon the phrase, but because you were winning. You were like winning. Were you winning like some sort of beauty pageants or something?
Miss Hopewell High School, which is the high school I went to.
So you were like the hottest chick in high school. I mean, you were.
I don't know if I was the hottest, but apparently I was pretty darn cute.
Yeah. So this
Miss
guy
Southside Virginia.
Guy comes over and he's like, man, this is a hot chick just working in this shoe store. He probably didn't. He probably had 50 pairs of shoes. He just heard there was a hot chick working across the street, came over there. So you marry this guy. Now, is it true that you were a virgin until your wedding night?
Yes, I was. Actually, I was a virgin until the next day.
Really? Now, how long did you date the guy or see the guy before you ended up getting married?
About 7-8 months.
Really? And there was nothing. He didn't try to get into your pants prior to that. Really?
No, he was a gentleman.
So you get married. You have sex for the first time.
The day after I got married, not the wedding night itself.
Too tired. It was too much.
No, I was too afraid.
Yeah. So the next day,
I hid in the I locked myself in the bathroom. Literally, I did. I was scared.
And this guy's probably going, "What in the world?
What's happening?
I can't believe this. I get married and I'm still not getting any action." But then, a lot of girls have a horrible experience their first time. Your first time, be good, bad.
I liked it enough to keep doing it.
So you liked it. You go, "Oh, this is,
I did."
But that marriage, it didn't end up lasting, I don't think, did it? Or how long?
No, it didn't. Well, he wanted children, and everybody in my family wanted me to have kids, and everybody in his family wanted him to have kids, and I didn't want to have kids.
Mm-hmm. How long did you stay married to the guy?
A year and a half.
A year and a half. Was he a pot dealer? Was that the guy that I read about? Was he a pot?
No.
I don't know. Rob's fired. My producer is just getting fired. I mean, this guy has some bad info on Seka. Did he try to get you to work in a massage parlor and pimp you out?
Yes, he did. And I was like, I don't think this is something I want to do.
How does that even come up where a husband goes to his wife, hey, how do you work?
I'm the wrong person to ask. I don't know how that comes up.
No, I'm just wondering, like, does he come to you and he goes, honey, there's this massage parlor. What if you go there and you give happy endings to guys? I mean, how does that work exactly?
Oh, well, a friend that he worked with owned the place, and they were looking for girls, except, I mean, I was stupid, very innocent. I didn't know crap from Shinola. And once I found out what it was all about, I was like, I'm out of here.
You don't want to do that, right? So then you end up working in an adult bookstore, I think, is how this
right.
You go.
One of the customers that came in, I mean, I would give massages, no happy endings and nothing else.
Okay.
But because I thought, what a cool job. You give people massages. It's kind of neat. Little did I know what was going on. So, but one of the guys that came in owned several adult bookstores, and I ended up working for him and ended up then a little while after that living with that person.
So you meet this guy. He owns these adult bookstores. And how did you make the transition then from working in an adult bookstore, I guess at this point still in Virginia, I guess?
Yes.
To getting into the porno industry?
Well, I saw the films all the time because that was in the days when it was 8mm film.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd actually have to splice the film together when it broke.
Would they show these films like in a movie theater or in little private booths?
Little peep shows.
Yeah, okay.
So you have a
Thank God
little...
for the internet. Woo!
Yeah.
Hold on, I can't get these earphones on right. And then, so, I mean, I would see the movies and I thought, God, these women look horrible.
Mm-hmm.
I think I can do that and do it better. And I think I did.
How did you then go about actually doing that? So you see this and you go, I could do this. I'm a hot chick. I think I could go have sex with guys or whatever. I mean, what's the next step that you take?
I was in Baltimore buying product for my stores because that's where the distributorships were. And they had kept bugging me saying, you should really do films. I'm like, yeah, whatever. And then they said, well, they're making a couple films down the street. You want us to call them? And I said, okay. So I went and did a movie.
You went and did a movie. And how much did they pay you for that first movie?
I don't remember.
A lot or a little bit of money, probably?
I'm not going to tell you.
Well, it's probably not a whole lot, I'm guessing. I mean, because,
it was a lot to me. Let me put it that way.
Yeah. So you go, and what was the first movie? I mean, was it like were you just nude? Was it full-on sex scene?
No, it was full-on sex.
Full-on sex. Where you must have been somewhat nervous doing that, right?
Not at all.
No kidding.
No, well, I knew I liked sex.
Yeah.
I knew I looked good naked.
Mm.
Big deal.
But aren't there, I mean, at that time when they make a porno movie, like now everyone has a video camera. I mean, half the stuff on the internet, it's just like one guy filming it. The lighting sucks, all of that. But back then, was it
It was pretty much the same. It was in a little seedy room. It wasn't anything glamorous, that's for sure.
Yeah. So you try this out. You go, wow, I can do this. At that point, then do you move out to L.A. or what do you do?
Well, I'd moved to Vegas and I had done a nude layout for a magazine. And it was selling like crazy in the stores. So people started wanting to know, where was this blonde chick? That they wanted her for more movies and more magazine stuff. So I ended up going to L.A. and I found an agent, Bill Margold. And he put me in my first full-length feature movie, which was Dracula Sucks.
Now, back then, there was sort of a cultural shift that happened sometime sometime around the mid-'90s, where porn stars, it sort of became fashionable. It wasn't necessarily frowned upon. But back then, I'm guessing it was a little bit different, that it was a profession that if people found out what you were doing, they would maybe pass judgment on you.
Well, they still do.
Yeah.
That part hasn't changed at all. It's it was the end thing to be seen with us, to hang out with us, to party with us, but you couldn't ask any favors or be asked to put in a movie or whatever because you were a porn star.
Mm-hmm. So,
and it's still pretty much that way.
You end up making how many movies throughout your career?
In 35 years, about 150 movies.
150 movies.
Some girls do 300 movies in 1 year.
Yeah. Still, it sounds like a lot. 150 movies.
In 35 years?
Yeah, I don't know. I get. So do you have any idea how many people you've been with throughout all those years, or do you not keep a tally?
Well, no, I don't keep a running tally. But at the time when I was making movies, it was a small group of people, so we all worked together quite a bit. It was 10 or 12 girls, 10 or 12 guys.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't like today where there are hundreds.
Mm-hmm.
So we all worked together quite a bit.
Yeah, back when I first started watching porn, it was always the same, 3 guys over and over and over. And you'd see those guys, they were in everything. Yeah. Now there's a plethora of guys and girls that they have. I mean, it has changed quite a bit. The internet is really what
Well, and you've got video camera on your cell phone.
Right. Right.
You know, we can make one right here.
So
We're not going to, but we could.
If so, throughout this, what were you doing in your personal life during this period of time when you're making all this porn? I mean, what were you?
I was living with someone.
Yeah. Was this the guy that you met that owned the adult stores?
Yes.
Or, okay, so he came out there with you and everything. So
Yes.
the two of you were living out there.
Got rid of him about 1978, 79.
Did you have a fairly normal private home life throughout this period
Not
of
with
time?
him.
No.
But if I tell you everything, you're not going to have to read
Oh,
the
no.
book.
Well, we're just scratching the surface of the
Yeah,
of
but
the
I'm
book.
not telling you all those juicy details.
We're just scratching the surface. People will get all of the
Well,
details.
I'm not
in
itching
the,
right
book.
now.
So, so you. But I mean, were you able to have relationships with the guys, or was it very difficult because of the profession?
I was monogamous.
To with that guy, or with whatever guy you happen to be with at the time. Really? So
Yeah.
So you weren't sleeping
I've
around.
never been a big player like that.
Mm-hmm. Even though a lot of people would just because
think that I'm just one big slut.
Right.
And I'm not. Never have been.
Did you? Seka is here with us. Her book is called Inside Seka, the Platinum Princess of Porn.
And I'm here for the Cinema Wasteland show this weekend.
Yes, which is going on all this weekend in Strongsville, as a matter of fact.
Yes, it's going to be fun.
What is Cinema Wasteland exactly? I mean,
It's sci-fi, horror, and pop culture.
Oh, okay. All right.
I guess I'm pop culture.
So you have a pretty normal relationship with guys throughout this period of time. You're not a big slut during this period of time, even though some people might think that you might have, that would be the impression. When did you get out of the industry?
Well, I've never really been out of the industry. I stopped making movies because of the AIDS onslaught.
Yeah.
And there wasn't any mandatory.
When did that hit? About the mid 80s or what? I mean, early.
Yeah, around the mid 80s.
Yeah. What was that like to be someone working in that industry?
It was
then?
scary, which is why I stopped, because there wasn't mandatory testing and there wasn't mandatory condom use.
Mm-hmm.
I did one more movie after that, which was 1992. And everybody I worked with had to be tested, and everybody I worked with had to wear a condom.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the last movie I did.
What do you think about what they're trying to do in California, or maybe they have passed a law in Los Angeles County? I don't know, but
I think they have.
This where you have to wear a condom in adult films now. They basically sort of swooped in and got the what's the agency that I guess like OSHA or something, that they go, this is an occupational hazard of having sex, transferring bodily fluids. Doctors aren't allowed to operate on you without gloves or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think it was OSHA.
Yeah, your subway worker has to wear gloves when he makes your sandwich, but these people are doing all sorts of stuff. What do you think of that requirement?
I think it should be that way.
Yeah, but some people,
I think it should be mandatory that you're tested, and I think it should be mandatory that you wear a condom. And for God's sake, what better way to promote safe sex?
Some people will say, though, some of the porno producers, they go, well, no one wants to see condom usage.
Well, but they don't care if you live or die.
Yeah.
So screw them.
Yeah. How many throughout your career, this is a personal question, but did you get any STDs
No.
throughout your... No, not one throughout your...
No.
Really?
No.
And that's just because you knew the group of people...
We all were a very tightly knit group of people. It was like a family. So we all worked together. Most of the people were either married or living with someone.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't like people were sleeping around like crazy people.
Was there... See, that's the opposite impression that I get like that. What was that guy, John Holmes or whatever? I mean...
I worked with John Holmes more than anybody else.
I always sort of got the impression this guy was just banging chicks left and right all over the place.
He wasn't.
No, he wasn't. Who was the guy that was involved in the murders? Was that John Holmes or who was that?
Yes, that was John.
There was a movie about that. You ever see that?
Yeah,
Wonderland. Yeah. Accurate, or do you have any insight as to that?
I don't know. I saw Wonderland as well, but, I wasn't close to John that way. We were very good friends, but I didn't go out and party with the people that I worked with.
Mm-hmm.
I'd go do my job. I'd go home
Mm-hmm.
or back to my hotel room.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go out and party.
I forget even what the whole premise of I think it was some murders that happened over drug sales or something like that. I don't know.
It
You'd
was
have to
over
go back.
cocaine.
Over cocaine. And then he might have been there when it happened, or I don't know. I'd have to go back and watch.
That's a whole different book. We're talking about Inside Seka.
But yeah, I don't remember all the details of that. So you knew him, and
yeah, John and I were pretty good friends. I liked working.
Did
with
he
John.
die of AIDS, or he died?
Yeah, I think so.
He died. Did a lot of people contract the virus back then, or no? No.
Not in the business, anyway.
But when something like that happened, it must have just freaked everyone out.
It did. I mean, I had already stopped making movies by then when all that happened. So,
Seka is here. Her book, Inside Seka, The Platinum Princess of Porn. It's available now. You can get this at Amazon.com.
Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, and Seka.com.
You
and at other events where I'm going to be, you can tweet me at Seka1954.
Seka 1954 is your. Is that what's the 1954? Is that your year you were born?
That was the year I was born.
Seka 1954. SEKA.
And other events that I'm doing. I'm doing 3 book signings in Chicago next week, and then I'm doing on the 9th at Topo Gigio in the Joint.
You had a radio show in Chicago for a
on
long
the
time.
Loop, yeah.
You taught. It was all about sex, basically.
It was called Let's Talk About Sex.
And
baby.
Well, you're quite the expert. Did you throughout your career? Did you hook up with a lot of famous guys, celebrities, that kind of stuff?
Not really.
You said that people would want to be seen with the porn stars and stuff.
I knew the guys in the Rolling Stones and Aerosmith and Bon Jovi and Motley Crue.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't sleep with any of them.
Really?
No.
Did they try?
No.
No.
They wanted to know me as a person just like I wanted to know them as a person.
Did you, let me think. Let me think of some people that have been.
It wasn't that I didn't want to.
Yeah.
I did want to, but I didn't. I didn't want to be known as the porn slut that slept with all the stars.
You have been associated with some famous people, though.
Well, yeah.
I can't think of them off my head.
Sam Kinison I dated for about 3 years.
And then, when was that? What you don't recall?
It was the 80s, and I don't remember.
I've told this story on the air before, but
it's in the book.
when I was in high school, I knew the guy that killed Sam Kinison in that car crash. And
oh, really?
Yeah, he was on the wrestling team with me, and I was actually supposed to be
in that car.
In that car, yeah.
Oh, wow!
And
lucky you.
Whoa! Isn't that amazing? How just something like that. Your whole life, I mean, I probably, maybe, possibly would have been killed. None of them in his truck were killed.
Well,
but...
I was supposed to be on the helicopter with Stevie Ray Vaughan the night he died.
Really? How did that come about?
I'd gone out to Alpine Valley to see them, and I rode out in the limo with everybody, and he was really tired and wanted to get back to the hotel, and it was a rainy, kind of cold night, and they said, well, Stevie's going to take the helicopter in. You want to fly in? No, not in this weather, thanks. I'll take the car.
So you had the offer, and you looked at the weather, and you go, this doesn't look like a good idea.
I lived in Chicago a long time, so I kind of knew what the weather was like.
Right.
Not happening. I'm not getting in a helicopter.
So his helicopter crashes.
And he dies.
He's killed. When you hear that, I mean, what do you just go, oh my God, that could have been me?
You totally freak out. Well, you had a similar experience.
Right. I mean, it puts your whole life into perspective, doesn't it?
Yeah, it gives you a lot more appreciation for life.
You had dinner with Woody Allen, and you said he was completely boring.
He is boring.
Woody Allen and Mia Farrow. How'd you hook up a dinner with them?
I was out to dinner with Bob Evans.
Bob Evans, who's Bob Evans? Like the restaurant? I don't know who Bob Evans is.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
He was the head of Paramount Studios.
Oh, okay, all right. See, I don't roll in these kind of circles. I don't know who Bob Evans is.
Well, he was in the process of getting things together to do that movie Cotton Club.
And so he takes you out to dinner, and Woody Allen and Mia Farrow.
Woody and Mia were there.
Yeah, and they were now a lot of people go, oh, they must be so great, but they were pretty.
He's boring.
He was pretty boring,
and he's not like the most pleasant person to look at.
Yeah. Sam Kinison, was he a good guy to date? Was he good to?
He was a good guy. I liked Sam a lot. I mean, I loved Sam, for many, many different reasons.
I always associated him as being wild and crazy too, like all coked out and stuff all the time.
Well, he was.
Yeah.
But it was the 80s.
Did you get into all that stuff?
I did.
You did.
Then I just said, I'm done with this. I put it down.
So one day, basically overnight, you said, you know what? Forget it. I'm not doing this stuff anymore.
Yeah.
Did you get a real problem in drugs, or were you just casually dabble in it?
No, there was nothing casual about it.
Yeah.
But I'm a strong-minded person. I just said, I'm done with this. And I stopped doing it.
You were one of the first porn stars to shave their pubes. You were way ahead of the curve there.
Apparently so. I don't know where this comes from, but I think it called for it in one of the scenes. So I did. And then it was like, oh, I created this whole big thing.
Well, thank you for that.
Yes.
I mean,
So you like a well-groomed garden, I take it.
of course, absolutely. I mean,
So do we as women.
some guys go, I've talked to some guys and they go, well, completely shaved. What are you, like a pedophile? That's like doing a 12-year-old girl. I go, no, it's not. That's ridiculous. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Now, do you still, at the age of 59, do you still maintain down there?
I keep a very well-groomed garden.
You completely shaved still or no?
No, very
not these
well-groomed
days.
garden.
Yeah. Oh, boy. You're looking good for 59. I will
Well,
tell you.
thank you.
Are you married now? Or
Yes, I am.
So how long have you been married?
We've been together for 13 years. I've been married for 7.
Well, that's a long time. That's let me go here. Let me go through. There was a documentary that was about you.
Life After Porn?
No. Oh, were you in that?
I was in Life After Porn, and there was another one called Desperately Seeking Seka.
I watched Life After Porn.
Right.
Because a girl that
And you don't remember me?
No, I'll tell you. The reason why I watched it is because I used to date a porn star named Raylene, and she was in this.
Oh, okay.
I dated her for about a year, and so someone sent me a tweet or something. They go, "Hey, your ex-girlfriend is in this movie." So I watched this, and she was in the preview, and then she's in the movie for a grand total of about 45 seconds.
That's it.
Yeah,
That was it, huh?
yeah. I thought that was it was an okay documentary.
That's what I've heard. It was okay.
You never watched it? You haven't seen it?
I haven't had time.
I thought it was just sort of. It didn't really. It sort of was like a casually scratching the surface. I don't think that it really delved into anything. Tell me about the other one, the Desperately Seeking Seka. What was that documentary?
That was 2 guys from Sweden who came to the U.S. wanting to do a documentary on me, and they started in L.A., went out through New York, and desperately seeking to find me to do this documentary.
So they eventually. Did you have any idea that they were going to do this?
No.
So they find you. I guess I haven't seen the documentary. They find you.
They find me, and they had already interviewed several other people in the business about me,
Mm-hmm.
and then they found me, and
Did you sit down and give them the interview they so desperately sought?
yes.
Well, I guess you could probably pick that up on Netflix. Let me see. Dolph Lundgren?
Yes.
You dated him?
Drago.
No, I didn't date him. That was a booty call. I can't imagine dating him.
So you would call him for a booty call,
No,
or he
I
would
met
call
him.
you?
It was one time.
Okay. Gary Busey?
That was one time, and nothing ever happened.
Nothing ever came. Oh, nothing actually even happened. You went out on a date with him, and what happened? Did you go out? How many guys? I bet you went out with a lot of guys.
Well,
and
we
you
went
sat...
to a hockey game
Yeah.
in Chicago,
Yeah.
and went back to the hotel, and he's just nuts.
He's even crazier in real life than he is.
Well,
what
he's
we see on
crazier now than
Yeah.
he was then, but I said, dude, I got to go.
How many people did you? I'll bet you sat down or you went out on a lot of dates, and people
Well, I
wanted to
slept
date
with
you.
Matt Dillon,
Yeah.
and he acted like he was going to spend the night, and I said, honey, you need to get up and get dressed and go home.
You
go
kicked
back-
Matt Dillon out of your bed.
I didn't want to sleep with him.
Yeah.
I just wanted to give him a bounce.
So how many guys did you go out with that they want to go out on a date with a porn star, and then you sit there and then you're just sitting across from this guy, and he's a complete wacko like Gary Busey. Just how many strange guys did you get hooked up with back
It's
in
in
the
the
day?
book.
Yeah, hundreds, I bet.
No,
No.
not hundreds. I told you I wasn't a one of those chicks that ran around a lot.
And you didn't sleep with any of these guys that were in the bands, like
No,
none of them.
no.
Well, the book is called Inside Seka, the Platinum Princess of Porn. You can get this now online at Amazon.com. You can get it on her website, Seka.com, SEKA.com, and
BarnesandNoble.com.
BarnesandNoble.com. This weekend, she'll be at the Cinema Wasteland Movie and Memorabilia Expo. It's at the Holiday Inn on Royalton Road in Strongsville. Seka.com is the website address. You were in drug rehab for a whole year?
No.
I just saw that one sentence in here. No, that was during a...
I know. Jerry Butler said that, I believe, and during a TV interview. Never have gone to drug rehab. Didn't see any need for it because I stopped, and when I stopped, I stopped.
What were you doing? Cocaine and...
Oh God, I was doing anything I could.
Was that what your the drug of choice though?
The drug of choice, yes.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Anyone that I don't think people have to go to rehab to quit. You have to have a will. I think people get pushed into rehab, and they, someone their family or whatever goes, "You need to go to rehab." The guy's like, "All right, whatever, I'll go just to appease my family," but he doesn't actually want to quit. That's why so many people fail at quitting drugs
because they don't want to.
Yeah,
You have to want to do it yourself,
right?
Yeah.
And I've had people call into the show. We had a guy a couple of weeks ago. Oh, my girlfriend, she's all on heroin, and I can't get her to quit, and she's out there prostituting. I go, cut your losses, man. Get the hell out of there. Right. Well, they had a kid, of course, so now it's the mother of his kid.
Take the kid and move on.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to drag you down with them. It's cruel, but that's the truth. Seka, thank you for coming in.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
The book has great stories.
It has a lot of great stories.
And more detail in the interview. So you can get all of these great stories there. I do have to take a quick break. Go to Seka.com and get her book, Inside Seka. We will be right back on Rover's Morning Glory. Hang on.
Rover's Morning Glory.